What's going on, gang? Ben here. We are on day two. And of course, we are talking about strategic planning for entrepreneurs and small business owners. And if you have not completed the homework from day one, please go back and do that right now. I know it's a little bit kumbaya, a little bit of, holding hands, kissing babies, all that kind of stuff, but it's very, very important. I can't say that enough, and write it all down. Same thing with today's lessons, write it all down, because as we grow upon this, you're going to come back to some of this stuff and say, hey, that's something I can improve upon, or maybe this is something we need to stop doing, so on and so forth. So it seems minor right now, but it's going to all come together, I promise you, as we move through this process together. So write it down, do the exercises before moving on to the next module. So if you've done that and you have your three lists, let's get into today's lesson. Let's get into today's lesson. And I'm going to go, as always, and start sharing my screen. And I'm going to turn my video off so that I'm not distracting anyone with my ugly mug. Of course, as usual, we're talking about the Be Small, Fight Big methodology for strategic planning for entrepreneurs and small business owners. And today's quick lesson is all about, if I can get my thing to work here, we'll get to what it's all about here. We're just real quick, we're going to talk about strategic planning, what it is, right? It's a process to help organizations get clarity about what matters most to their success, help identify and commit to the most important priorities, and of course, get the organization aligned, ready to take action, and accountable to the priorities so they can grow their business, right? So today's lesson is going to be all about customers, products, and competition. And these are all very, very three important things when we start talking about creating a plan and growing and scaling your business. All right, so customers, let's dig into it. First thing you want to know, or when it start a list on getting real serious about, is who are our current customers, right? Who are they? And go deep on this. Don't just be general. I'll tell the story a lot. Not everybody is your customer. I once had a business client. She owned a coffee shop, and she would say, everyone is my customer. I was like, no, not everyone's your customer, because I don't drink coffee. I'm not your customer, right? And as we got really deep into it, she realized that really her customer was early morning workers, like people who went to work early and they stopped in and got coffee on their way to work, right? So you got to get specific about the demographic and the sociographic and the psychographics of who your customers are, what they do, what their habits are, their buying habits, so on and so forth, right? If you're an auto repair shop, not everyone's going to be your customer if you only work on Ferraris and Porsches, or vice versa. If you don't work on Ferraris and Porsches, that's not going to be your customer. You got it. I think you guys are kind of with me. You want to do the same for your potential customers. You want to think about who your potential customers are, because as we start talking about products and services, um, this might be areas you can expand into. Like with the coffee shop example, I don't drink coffee, but maybe she could have created some new products that acquired me as a potential customer. So these are things you want to start thinking about, right? And for each type of customer that you have, if you have more than one type of customer, you want to ask yourself, how profitable are they for us? That's important, because if you start realizing that maybe they aren't a very profitable customer in another segment, then maybe we stop marketing to everybody, to the masses, and we start marketing to those early morning commute people. Maybe we need to start doing more billboards, or maybe early morning radio shows. You get where I'm going with this. But having a very clear customer profile and a very clear strategic plan is going to tell you where you need to start putting your focus and your resources, right? How well do we serve the competition? Or I'm sorry, how do we serve them compared to our competition, right? Are we better in some sort of way than our competition? And if you're not, you obviously want to start figuring that part out. How do they perceive us in the market compared to our competition? And use Google, use Yelp, right? And others. So there's a ton of resources out there, a ton of tools you can use. But what are your customers saying about you, right? And remember that no reviews is also just as telling as bad reviews. You want people raving about you. Are they raving about you? If not, how can we get them to start raving about us? And of course, how can we serve them better, right? That's always the goal. If we can serve them better, hopefully we'll gain them as a loyal customer forever and ever. All right, we want to talk about products and services. Same thing, current products and services, and we want to think about potential products and services, right? And we want to ask these questions for both categories. If you have a potential product or service and you're thinking about it, you want to get real specific, but how profitable is it for us? And the things you might learn, from this, well, first off, you want to get specific. How much does it cost us exactly to make this particular unit? And when we sell it, how much exactly to the penny do we make on this particular product? And you want to do it for every single product or service that you offer, right? Start thinking about this. Is this something that we need to continue to offer. Maybe it's not very profitable for us. The margin's small. It generates a lot of cash flow because we sell a lot of that particular item, but it also eats up a lot of our resources. Maybe we can focus on another resource, right? Or another product that's more profitable for us, and we go after a different market or a different segment. So this will give you some things to think about when you start getting into that. How can we make it more profitable for us if we're going to continue to offer it, right? So if it's maybe a small profit margin, but you want to continue to offer it, can we raise our prices? And if so, then maybe you create a strategic plan around how you can raise those prices while keeping customers loyal and without losing, that market share. So those are all very, very important things. I think you kind of see where I'm going with this, right? Once you start, or this is the start of acquiring that data, that's going to make you start thinking about potential strategic agendas that you can implement or that you need to implement, right? So, for example, so say customers that come in and used to sit down with you, right? It used to be your most profitable segment. They came in and they sat down, they bought a coffee and they bought a muffin, right? But now mostly having to do drive-through business because of this pandemic, right? People aren't buying muffins anymore because they're too messy while driving. So what's a new product that's highly profitable that you can offer as an alternative, right? So your light bulbs should be going off right about now. If not, go get some coffee for yourself. But these are the kind of things that you really want to start thinking about is, what do I need to change, right? What new things do I need to improve upon so that I can make this a profitable product? Or do I need to maybe change or create a new product that's profitable for us in the current climate that we're in? And of course, how well does it serve your customers compared to your competition? And how can we improve on this particular product or service? All very important things. You need to write this stuff down. Competition, right? Who are they? Create a list of who your top 10 competitors are. Now, if you're in a smaller market, maybe a small town, maybe you don't have 10 competitors, but maybe you're an online retailer and you don't think you compete against the Amazons of the world. But if your customers are going there and buying your product from there instead of you, hey, guess what? Amazon's your competition. You need to write this. Just create a short list of who your competitors are, right? And then start writing this stuff down. The same thing, ask yourself these questions. What do they do best? How do they beat us today? How do they beat us? How do we beat them today? Maybe you're beating them in some sort of way. And then how can we leapfrog them tomorrow? And so if you're beating them today, do not become complacent, think that you're going to beat them again tomorrow, because guess what? They might be doing the same thing. They might be creating a new plan and they realize that, hey, so-and-so's beating us. Let's beat them by doing X, right? So how you beat them today may not be valid tomorrow. So you want to think about that and how can you continually improve upon that? How can you leapfrog them tomorrow? All right. So that's kind of all we got so far for day 2, guys. You should have a ton of notes and you should have several lists from today's model as well. Today we got clear on who our customers are, what products and services we offer, and who our competitors are, and how we can potentially create new strategies around this information, right? Now, write it all down. I can't say that enough. And if you don't, I promise you, if you're not writing this stuff down, you're doing yourself a big disservice. And of course, as always, if you can't wait for the next part in the series, and you want to learn more about what we do to help entrepreneurs and small business owners grow their business, then head over to VisaNotConsulting.com. I've got a ton of resources there. We've got a blog. We've got the podcast, of course, the Next Level Leadership and Small Business Owner podcast. I would definitely check both of those out. And just a ton of useful free information that'll help you grow your business. If you scroll to the very bottom of any page on our website, take a moment and download the free resource, the free white paper. It's on why small businesses fail. It's chock full of useful information that will help you avoid failure and, of course, grow and scale your business to its full potential. And don't forget to join our Facebook group. You can click the link above. I'll make sure I put that above us. But if you want to search for it on Facebook, it's called the Next Level Leadership and Small Business Owner Show or Small Business Owner Group. And that'll keep you up to date on what's going on. It's got that's where all our free trainings and other valuable resources are in that particular Facebook group. And that's it, guys. That's all I got. So thank you for joining us today. Please write all this down, create your list, create your notes, and I will see you in the next module.